Every morning sets the tone for the entire day, and the words we choose to tell ourselves have the power to shape our mindset, our energy, and even our confidence. The truth is, most of us wake up and immediately start thinking about responsibilities, worries, or tasks ahead, but rarely do we pause to remind ourselves of the strength we already carry within. When you speak to yourself with intention, when you affirm who you are and what you're capable of, you create a shield that protects your peace, your focus, and your determination before the world even has a chance to test you. This isn't about empty positivity. It's about building a foundation of truth that grounds you in your worth, your values, and your goals. If every woman made it a habit to speak powerful truths to herself each morning, she would walk into her day with more clarity, courage, and calmness, no matter what challenges come her way. I am in control of my thoughts, my actions, and my response to the world around me. Every morning when I wake up, I remind myself that no matter what situations I face, no matter what people say or do, the one thing that always remains within my power is how I choose to respond. Life will never stop throwing unexpected challenges, sometimes small annoyances, and sometimes life-altering difficulties, but the truth is that none of those things have authority over my peace unless I hand it to them. I do not have control over traffic jams, rude comments, setbacks, or disappointments, but I do have control over whether I allow them to ruin my mood, dictate my behavior, or drain my energy. The moment I accept that I am in control of myself, I take back the power I often give away without realizing it. No one has the right to decide my inner state unless I let them, and today I refuse to let that happen. My mind is my own. My actions are my choice, and my emotions are not puppets pulled by strings of circumstance. When I tell myself that I am in control, I am not ignoring reality or pretending life is perfect. I am simply declaring that I am not a victim to every emotion or every circumstance that crosses my path. I can choose patience when someone tries to provoke me. I can choose kindness even when I am met with bitterness. I can choose to pause instead of react. And with every choice I make, I prove to myself that I am stronger than the pull of negativity. The world may be chaotic, but I do not have to mirror that chaos inside of me. I can breathe, I can think, and I can move forward with calmness. That is my power, and I claim it every morning before the day tries to take it from me. There will always be people who test my boundaries, situations that push my limits, and unexpected moments that make me want to lose control. But the greatest strength is not in controlling everything around me. It is in controlling myself in the middle of it all. I am the one who decides whether I carry anger throughout my day or whether I release it. I am the one who decides whether I let fear stop me from moving forward or whether I walk with courage despite the fear. I am the one who decides whether I waste energy on things I cannot change or invest it into the things I can. Every choice I make is proof that I am the driver of my own life, not a passenger tossed around by circumstances. That awareness gives me confidence because if I can guide myself, then I can guide my day. And if I can guide my day, I can guide my life. I know there will be moments when I slip, when I react too quickly, when I let my emotions get the better of me. But even in those moments, I remind myself that control is something I can reclaim at any time. It is never too late in a day to reset my thoughts and shift my perspective. The power is always with me, and it is mine to exercise. The more I practice it, the stronger it becomes. Self-control is not about perfection. It is about progress, about noticing when I wander and guiding myself back to the path I want to walk. I do not expect myself to always get it right, but I do expect myself to remember that I always have a choice, and that choice is where my strength begins. This truth is not about denying emotions because emotions are natural and human. It is about understanding that emotions do not have to become decisions. I can feel frustrated without lashing out. I can feel worried without being paralyzed. I can feel sad without giving up. My emotions may rise, but my choices are steady and my actions are mine. Every time I remind myself of this, I build resilience. Every time I choose to act with intention instead of impulse, I build discipline. And every time I choose a response that aligns with who I want to be, I build a version of myself that is stronger, wiser, and more peaceful than before. I am in control of my thoughts, my actions, and my response to the world around me. And when I carry that truth into my day, I walk with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, the way I respond will always be my greatest strength. My value is not measured by anyone else's approval or opinion. Each morning, I remind myself that I was not created to fit into someone else's definition of worth, and I was not placed on this earth to constantly prove my significance to people who may never see it. My value is not in the number of likes I get, the compliments I hear, or the recognition others decide to give me. My value is not in how many people applaud me, agree with me, or validate me. It is not in how perfect I look, how much I accomplish, or how much I sacrifice to please those around me. My value is already complete, already intact, and already unshakable, regardless of whether someone chooses to notice it or not. When I anchor myself in that truth, I am free from the endless cycle of comparison and competition that tries to steal my peace. I know how easy it is to get caught up in seeking approval, to measure myself by other people's reactions, to let their words or silence determine how I feel about myself. But that is a heavy burden to carry because people's opinions are never consistent, never guaranteed, and never fully accurate. One day they may praise me, the next day they may criticize me, but neither of those changes who I am. My worth does not rise and fall with their moods, their judgments, or their expectations. The moment I base my identity on the shifting opinions of others, I give away the power to define myself. And that is a power I refuse to hand over because it belongs only to me. My value is rooted in something deeper, something that cannot be measured or diminished by anyone's approval. It is rooted in my character, my heart, my resilience, and the person I am becoming each day. When I choose to believe that my value is not measured by anyone else, I free myself from comparison. I do not have to look at another woman's success and feel smaller. I do not have to look at someone else's appearance and question my own. I do not have to measure my journey against someone else's timeline because my value is not in where I stand compared to others. It is in how true I remain to myself. The world may try to convince me that my worth is in what I achieve, in how much I earn, in how attractive I appear, or in how perfectly I balance everything. But the truth is that my worth cannot be placed on a scale. It is not up for debate, it does not fluctuate, and it does not need defending. The more I live with that awareness, the more confident I become in walking my path without the need for constant validation. This truth also helps me handle criticism with strength. There will always be people who misunderstand me, underestimate me, or judge me without knowing the whole story. Their opinions may sting, but they do not define me. If my value depended on their acceptance, I would be chasing approval for the rest of my life, never finding peace. But when I hold on to the truth that my value is already set, I can listen to feedback without losing myself, I can accept correction without questioning my worth, and I can ignore judgment that does not serve me. My worth is not a negotiation, and it is not something anyone has the authority to reduce. The same is true for approval. When others praise me, I can receive it with gratitude, but I do not need it to feel valuable. Compliments are wonderful, but they are not the foundation of my confidence. My foundation must be built on something stronger, something that does not crumble when silence follows applause. My value is steady because it comes from within, and when I remind myself of that each morning, I protect my heart from the trap of depending on others to tell me I am enough. I know that some people may never recognize my worth, no matter how much good I do, no matter how hard I try, and no matter how genuine I am. But their inability to see my value does not mean it is missing. Just because someone else is blind to it does not mean it is not there. The only approval I need to live with peace is my own, the approval that comes from knowing I am living true to my values, my principles, and my vision. The more I remind myself of this truth, the more I walk with freedom, and the less I feel weighed down by the pressure of pleasing everyone. My value is not measured by anyone else's approval or opinion, and the moment I embrace that truth, I become untouchable, in a world that constantly tries to convince me otherwise. I am capable of handling challenges with grace, strength, and confidence. Every morning I tell myself this because life does not always go as planned, and there will always be moments that test my patience, my resolve, and my courage. Challenges are not signs of weakness or punishment. They are opportunities that reveal the depth of who I am and what I can overcome. When I face difficulties, I remind myself that I have already survived so many storms, and each one has left me wiser, stronger, and more resilient than before. I am not fragile, I am not powerless, and I am not defined by the struggles in front of me. I am defined by how I choose to rise above them, how I carry myself in the middle of them, and how I refuse to let them break the core of who I am. Grace means I do not have to lose myself to anger or frustration every time something goes wrong. It means I can walk through difficulties without allowing bitterness to take root in me. Grace allows me to keep my composure when others expect me to fall apart. It is the quiet strength that helps me respond with patience when I am provoked and with calmness when I am under pressure. Grace is not about ignoring pain or pretending everything is easy. It is about carrying myself with dignity even when life feels unfair. Every challenge is an invitation to show grace, to rise above negativity, and to be a reflection of patience and strength, even when circumstances try to pull me in the opposite direction. Strength is not about never feeling weak. It is about refusing to stay down when weakness visits me. It is about standing up again when life knocks me over, about holding steady when everything around me feels unstable. My strength is not measured by how loud I shout or how forceful I fight back, but by the quiet determination to keep moving forward when quitting feels easier. Strength is built every time I push through doubt, every time I keep going despite fear, and every time I remind myself that I have more inside of me than I give myself credit for. Challenges do not steal my strength. They reveal it. Every obstacle I have ever faced has only added another layer of resilience, and today I am stronger than I was yesterday because of what I endured. Confidence is the belief that no matter what comes my way, I will find a way through it. It is not about knowing all the answers. It is about trusting myself enough to face the unknown. Confidence reminds me that setbacks are temporary, that failures are lessons, and that challenges are not walls meant to stop me, but doors meant to push me toward growth. With confidence, I walk into challenges with the mindset that I am equipped, that I am prepared, and that even if I stumble, I will rise again. Confidence tells me I do not need to have everything figured out to move forward. I just need the courage to take one step at a time and the faith that I will grow stronger with each step. When I remind myself each morning that I am capable of handling challenges with grace, strength, and confidence, I start the day ready for whatever it may bring. I do not wait for life to be easy before I feel secure. I create security within myself by choosing how I will face life. I am prepared for unexpected obstacles, for the opinions of others, for the weight of responsibilities, and for the setbacks that may cross my path, because I know I carry within me everything I need to handle them. I am not limited by my circumstances, I am not defined by my challenges, and I am not defeated by difficulties. I am capable, I am resilient, and I am stronger than anything that tries to stand in my way. I choose progress over perfection, knowing growth is built one step at a time. Each day I remind myself that chasing perfection is an endless race with no finish line, a pursuit that only leaves me exhausted and dissatisfied, because no matter how hard I try, there will always be something more I could have done, some detail I could have polished, some flaw I could have fixed. Perfection is an illusion that robs me of joy and makes me question my worth, but progress is real. Progress is steady. Progress is where true transformation lives. When I focus on progress, I allow myself to grow without the weight of unrealistic expectations. I give myself permission to celebrate small victories, and I open the door to consistent improvement rather than constant disappointment. Progress gives me freedom to try, freedom to learn, and freedom to embrace the journey instead of obsessing over a flawless outcome. Every great accomplishment I admire was not built in a single day, but through steady steps taken with consistency and patience. Growth is not about giant leaps. It is about faithful movement forward even when the steps feel small. A small step in the right direction is still a step of strength. And when I choose to take one step today, another tomorrow, and another the day after that, I am building momentum that perfection can never offer me. Perfection demands that I get everything right immediately, but progress reminds me that learning through mistakes is part of the process. I am allowed to stumble, I am allowed to fall short, I am allowed to try again because every attempt brings me closer to the person I am becoming. Progress is not glamorous, but it is powerful because steady growth creates lasting change. Choosing progress over perfection also means I speak to myself with compassion instead of criticism. Perfection tells me I am never enough, but progress reminds me that who I am today is further along than who I was yesterday. I do not need to measure myself against impossible standards. I only need to measure myself against the growth I am making. Even if my growth is quiet, even if no one else notices, it is still real, it is still valuable, and it still matters. Every time I choose to learn instead of quit, to rise instead of stay down, to keep going instead of giving up, I am honoring progress. That choice builds resilience, and resilience is more powerful than perfection could ever be. Progress strengthens my character, while perfection only strengthens my self-doubt. There is beauty in allowing myself to be unfinished, in accepting that I am a work in progress, in knowing that my journey does not have to look polished for it to be meaningful. Progress allows me to embrace patience because I understand that meaningful change takes time. Progress teaches me discipline because I know that even when results are not immediate, consistency will eventually reveal them. Progress builds confidence because I see proof that my efforts are creating real change, even if slowly. When I choose progress, I create space to enjoy the journey, to notice growth happening, and to honor the process of becoming rather than being obsessed with arriving. I begin to see challenges as part of my growth instead of as failures, and I stop judging myself so harshly for not being perfect. This truth also shifts how I handle opportunities and setbacks. When I believe I must be perfect, I hesitate to start because the fear of failure paralyzes me. But when I believe in progress, I give myself permission to begin, even imperfectly, because I know that starting is the first step to growth. Progress allows me to try new things without the burden of needing to master them immediately. It teaches me to embrace effort instead of chasing flawlessness, to value consistency instead of perfectionism. With progress as my focus, I become more patient with myself, more flexible with challenges, and more confident in the long journey ahead. Each morning, when I remind myself of this truth, I step into my day with determination to move forward, even if it is just one step, because one step is always better than standing still. I deserve love, respect, and opportunities, and I will not settle for less. Every morning, I tell myself this because the way I see my own worth sets the standard for how others treat me. If I believe I am undeserving, I will accept behavior and circumstances that diminish me. But when I stand firm in the truth that I am worthy, I set boundaries that protect my heart, I attract relationships that uplift me, and I create a life that reflects the respect I have for myself. Love is not something I have to beg for. Respect is not something I have to earn by shrinking who I am. And opportunities are not something I must apologize for taking. They are all things I deserve simply because my worth is inherent, unshakable, and undeniable. When I remind myself that I deserve love, I begin by understanding that love starts within. If I do not love myself, I will always search for it in others and accept scraps when I was made for abundance. Loving myself means I treat my body with care, my mind with kindness, and my spirit with gentleness. It means I forgive myself when I fall short and encourage myself when I feel weak. Self-love does not make me arrogant, it makes me whole. And when I am whole, I can give and receive love in ways that are healthy and fulfilling. I deserve love that is steady, love that is safe, and love that allows me to grow, not love that makes me question my value or abandon who I am. Respect is another truth I must claim each day. I cannot control how everyone views me, but I can control what I accept. If someone dismisses me, belittles me, or tries to undermine me, I do not have to stay silent or remain in their presence. Respect is not optional, it is a foundation, and I owe it to myself to demand it. This does not mean I have to be confrontational or harsh, but it does mean I carry myself with dignity and refuse to allow anyone to treat me as less than I am. Respect begins with the way I respect myself, the standards I uphold, and the boundaries I protect. When I honor myself, I teach others how to honor me as well. Each time I choose to stand up for my worth, I reinforce the truth that I am not here to be walked over, overlooked, or silenced. Opportunities are also part of what I deserve. I am worthy of stepping into rooms that once felt too big for me, of taking on challenges that stretch my skills, and of saying yes to doors that open before me. Opportunities are not reserved for people who are perfect. They are for people who are willing to grow, and I am one of them. I will not downplay my abilities, I will not hide my gifts, and I will not let fear of rejection keep me from trying. Every opportunity I take is a chance to expand, to learn, and to step closer to the life I envision. When I remind myself that I deserve opportunities, I give myself permission to stop waiting for someone to invite me and start creating the path that is meant for me. Settling for less than love, respect, and opportunities only leads to resentment, exhaustion, and regret. I know that when I accept less, I tell the world that I believe I am less, and that is a lie I will not live by. My standards are not too high when they are built on dignity. My expectations are not unrealistic when they are rooted in truth, and my boundaries are not selfish when they are protecting my peace. Each morning when I claim this truth, I strengthen my ability to walk away from what diminishes me and move toward what empowers me. I build the courage to leave behind relationships, environments, and patterns that do not honor who I am. I remind myself that I am worthy of love that nurtures me, respect that upholds me, and opportunities that challenge and elevate me. The more I affirm this, the more I align my choices with it, and the more I create a life that reflects the fullness of my worth.